Beloved soul, pause right here and let this moment settle into your spirit. You didn't arrive in this space by chance. Heaven has been guiding your steps with a precision that feels almost impossible to grasp, weaving divine timing into every breath you've taken today. Something sacred is unfolding around you, something your heart has sensed long before your mind could understand. That quiet trembling inside you, that subtle awakening rising like light beneath the horizon, is the evidence that God is calling your name in the unseen. As Jeremiah 33:3 declares, "Call to me, and I will answer you, and show you great and mighty things." What you are hearing right now is one of those things. Chosen one, I need you to feel the weight of what's happening in your soul. You've been wrestling with questions that seem to echo through your spirit at night, wondering why the pull inside you has grown stronger, why your vision feels sharper, why the atmosphere around you feels charged with purpose. It's because heaven is aligning you with destiny in ways you cannot yet see. Your path is shifting, your spirit is rising, and the old layers of limitation are falling away like dust shaken from a garment God never meant you to wear forever. You are stepping into a breakthrough season that will reshape how you see yourself, how you pray, and how you move. There is a whisper from God reaching toward you now, threading through your thoughts with a clarity that feels almost supernatural. He is reminding you that your calling has always been bigger than the battles you faced, that the pain you endured was never punishment, but preparation for abundance, that the emotional healing you've been walking through has been clearing room for elevation, financial stability, and a wealth mindset anchored not in fear, but in faith. Even the restlessness in your chest has been a sign of destiny alignment, a spiritual awakening that signals the beginning of personal transformation. Beloved, breathe. Let your heart open just a little wider, because heaven is speaking, and this time it's not a gentle nudge, it's a revelation breaking through the veil. God is drawing near, igniting your divine purpose with a fire that refuses to be ignored. And before we go deeper, if something in your spirit is stirring right now, tap like, not as routine, but as your declaration that you are ready for bold, transformative action, ready to rise into the chapter God has been writing in silence. Chosen one, stay with me, because what heaven is about to reveal will shift the atmosphere of your life. Beloved soul, breathe deeply, because what is unfolding inside you now is only the beginning. There is a stirring that has not quieted, a pull that refuses to loosen its grip, and heaven is urging you to listen with the part of your spirit that has long been waiting for a word like this. You have stepped into a place in your journey where God is not only shaping you, He is unveiling you. The layers that once covered your strength are being peeled away, and the identity He crafted before time began is rising to the surface with a boldness that surprises even you. What you are feeling right now is the momentum of divine purpose catching up to your steps, lifting you into a season that requires more courage, more obedience, and more spiritual clarity than any chapter you have lived before. Chosen one, there are things God has been whispering in the quiet corners of your heart. Ideas, visions, dreams that arrive uninvited yet undeniable. They come with a weight that feels sacred, with a sweetness that feels holy. These are not random thoughts. They are instructions waiting for your agreement. Heaven has been nudging you, urging you to expand, to create, to pursue what stretches your faith into territories where fear cannot follow. You've sensed it, that inner fire rising at unexpected moments, that flash of insight that lights up your mind, that gentle push to step into arenas you once felt unqualified for. All of this is God awakening dormant gifts, preparing you to move into assignments that require not just belief, but action. There is a shift happening in your relationships too, beloved. You've noticed it. People whose hearts resonate with yours are being drawn toward you with divine timing, while those who once distracted your spirit are fading into the background. This is not emotional inconsistency. It is spiritual reorganization. God is surrounding you with those who see your value without explanation, who honor your light without competition, who speak life into your purpose rather than siphon from your peace. He is aligning you with voices that sharpen your discernment, not dull it. Voices that celebrate your destiny, not silence it. Voices that understand that your calling is not a threat, but a signal that heaven is shifting the atmosphere around you. And it's not just people changing. Your own perception is changing. You're seeing truth more clearly. You're sensing motives faster. You're reading spiritual energy with a precision that surprises you. This is the Holy Spirit expanding your discernment to guard what you're carrying. Because what God is building in your spirit cannot be entrusted to unsteady hands or weary hearts. You are walking into a season that demands emotional maturity, spiritual intelligence, and a willingness to release what no longer resonates with the frequency of your future. And though release is never easy, releasing is required in seasons of elevation. Beloved, there is also a deep internal restructuring happening within you. Old emotional patterns that once controlled your reactions are losing their grip. Wounds that once shaped your choices are being healed with a gentleness that feels almost supernatural. You are no longer triggered by what used to unsettle you. You are no longer shaken by old fears that once held you hostage. This is emotional healing rising like dawn over the parts of you that thought they would never see light again. God is restoring the fragments of your heart with such tenderness that even your silence has become sacred ground. You are evolving from survival to sovereignty, from woundedness to wisdom, from uncertainty to spiritual authority. And if you've been wondering why your faith feels different lately, why it feels more mature, more grounded, more focused, it's because God has been teaching you how to trust not from desperation, but from alignment. You're learning that faith isn't begging God to change your circumstances. Faith is allowing God to change you so your circumstances must follow. Faith is realizing that your destiny doesn't bend to chaos. Chaos bends to your calling. Faith is understanding that what God has ordained for you cannot be intercepted by human limitations, emotional storms, or spiritual resistance. Chosen one, heaven has also been expanding your vision. You've caught glimpses of possibilities that seemed bigger than you, larger than anything you've walked through. These visions are not illusions, they are invitations. Invitations into expansion. Invitations into abundance. Invitations into a version of your life that aligns with divine purpose rather than human expectation. And though stepping into this vision may feel overwhelming, God has already equipped your spirit with the courage you'll need to walk in it. He has placed ideas in your mind that are seeds of elevation, waiting for the soil of obedience to bring them into manifestation. You've also been experiencing shifts in your inner rhythm. The things that once consumed your attention no longer hold your focus. The habits that once drained you now feel incompatible with your spirit. This is because God is resetting your internal compass. He is recalibrating your priorities so your actions align with destiny instead of distraction. You are becoming more intentional, more aware, more spiritually anchored. You're choosing peace over chaos, purpose over comfort, alignment over approval. This is the mark of a chosen one stepping into maturity. And beloved, heaven has been adding weight to your words. You've noticed how your voice carries more influence, how people listen more intently, how conversations shift when you speak. This is not coincidence. This is spiritual authority rising within you. God has been training your voice for impact, giving power to your declarations, sharpening your intuition so your words carry clarity, conviction, and truth. When you speak now, you speak with the wisdom of someone who has walked through fire and learned how to glow without burning. You speak with the insight of someone who has survived storms that should have drowned them. You speak with the authority of someone who has been called, chosen, and strengthened by God Himself. Before we move deeper, chosen one, pause and let your spirit absorb this. If you have felt God rearranging your life from the inside out, write a short fire-filled affirmation in the comments. I rise. I receive clarity. I choose destiny. Whatever your spirit is declaring in this moment, let heaven witness your agreement. Now take a breath, beloved, because the next part of this revelation is unfolding even now, reaching for you like light stretching across a horizon you never expected to see. Beloved soul, the horizon of your spirit is widening even further, and what is rising toward you now carries a depth you may not have felt in years. There are moments in every chosen one's journey when heaven begins to unveil truths that were once hidden behind layers of doubt, fear, or spiritual fog. And you have reached such a moment. This is where clarity begins to separate itself from confusion, where divine purpose begins to break away from old identities, where your spirit begins to reclaim pieces of itself that were buried under the weight of past seasons. What you are sensing right now is the slow but certain unfolding of a life God has been preparing behind the veil, a life that carries more strength, more wisdom, and more spiritual understanding than anything you have known before. Chosen one, God has been reshaping your inner world in ways that only hindsight will fully reveal. You felt it as a shift in how you think, how you respond, how you perceive the unseen patterns woven into your days. You're beginning to notice that the things that once triggered your fears now trigger your discernment. Situations that once drained your energy now awaken your spiritual intelligence. This is not random emotional change. This is the Holy Spirit renewing your mind, replacing outdated thought patterns with strategies that align you with victory instead of survival. You are learning to filter your experiences through revelation rather than reaction, through divine timing rather than earthly rush, through wisdom instead of impulse. There is also a new strength rising in the core of who you are. You've been sensing it in the way you stand your ground, in the way you protect your peace, in the way you no longer tolerate what once diminished your power. This is spiritual maturity anchoring itself in your identity. You are becoming someone who understands that emotional stability is not weakness, but a weapon. You are recognizing that your calm is not passivity, but authority. You are discovering that your silence is not avoidance, but discernment, guiding you away from conversations that cannot contain your calling. Heaven has been teaching you to govern your emotions instead of being governed by them. And this inner recalibration is preparing you for responsibilities that require depth, clarity, and self-control. Beloved, your spiritual sensitivity has been heightening as well. You've noticed how your intuition catches subtleties you once overlooked, how your spirit reacts to atmospheres before your mind identifies the reason, how certain people feel like alignment while others feel like interference. This heightened awareness is not accidental. God is training your discernment for higher assignments that require you to distinguish between opportunity and distraction, between divine alignment and emotional convenience, between voices that guide and voices that mislead. You are being taught to navigate spiritual density with the precision of someone who carries heaven's insight. And chosen one, heaven has been awakening a deeper hunger within you, one for knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and divine clarity. You've felt it in the questions rising in your heart. in the desire to understand your purpose with sharper definition, in the yearning to step into a life shaped not by circumstance, but by revelation. This hunger is not to frustrate you, it is to elevate you. God often awakens hunger before he releases instruction, so that your spirit is ready, not just to hear but to act. He is preparing you to step into a realm where your decisions are rooted in revelation, where your faith operates with precision, where your actions carry impact beyond what your natural eyes can measure. There is also a transformation happening in your sense of identity. You're no longer seeing yourself through the lens of past wounds or past limitations. You're beginning to see yourself through the lens of destiny, someone with purpose, someone with influence, someone with divine assignment. You're recognizing that the pain you endured refined your depth, the losses you faced sharpened your insight, and the silence you walked through strengthened your resilience. You are becoming aware that you were never meant to blend into the background of your own life. You were crafted to rise, to lead, to carry revelation into spaces where confusion once ruled. Beloved, God has also been expanding your capacity. You've felt it in the way you now hold. Space for growth without fear of depletion. You're learning how to balance responsibilities without losing yourself. You're mastering how to carry elevation without sacrificing rest. This expansion is preparing you for opportunities that require emotional endurance, spiritual awareness, and a wealth mindset that sees possibility instead of limitation. Heaven is enlarging your inner territory so that when external blessings arrive, you are not overwhelmed but ready. And for some of you, God has been awakening your voice. The one you once hid, the one you silenced to avoid rejection, the one you dimmed to avoid conflict. He is restoring its strength, its clarity, its purpose. You've been noticing ideas flowing more freely, insights coming more quickly, words forming more boldly. Your voice is being shaped into an instrument of influence, guidance, and revelation. It will speak into places where silence once allowed confusion to thrive. It will carry authority that breaks cycles, awakens truth, and shifts atmospheres. Before we continue, Chosen One, if these words resonate with the deepest part of your journey, if they mirror the changes happening within you, share them so the one heaven places on your heart can receive what their spirit has been longing to hear. Now breathe, beloved, because heaven is still speaking, and the next wave of revelation is already drawing close to your spirit. Beloved soul, there is another layer unfolding within you, one that has been forming quietly beneath the surface of your daily life. You may not have realized it at first, but heaven has been stretching your inner landscape, widening your capacity to perceive what others overlook, strengthening the chambers of your heart so you can hold revelations that require depth, steadiness, and spiritual maturity. This expansion feels subtle yet undeniable, like a gentle pressure in your spirit, urging you to grow into the fullness of who God designed you to be. You are no longer shaped by the limitations of your past. You are being shaped by the magnitude of your purpose. And this shift is creating a new spiritual rhythm within you, a rhythm that aligns you with abundance, wisdom, and divine orchestration. Chosen One, your relationship with stillness has been changing as well. What once felt like emptiness now feels like invitation. Silence has become a place where God speaks with a clarity that cuts through distraction. You've found yourself craving moments of quiet, not to escape life, but to hear heaven. This desire is not accidental, it is spiritual tuning. God is training you to recognize His voice in the spaces between your thoughts, to sense His presence in the pauses, to hear instruction in the whispers that once felt too faint to follow. This is how prophets are formed. This is how destiny bearers learn to walk with precision. He is refining your sensitivity so the noise of the world cannot drown out the frequency of your calling. There is also a Transformation happening in how you interpret challenges. Where you once saw obstacles, you now sense openings. Where you once saw loss, you now perceive redirection. Where you once felt abandoned, you now recognize preparation. This shift is a sign of spiritual elevation. It's proof that your mind is no longer bound by fear-based narratives. You're learning to read situations through the lens of divine timing rather than human urgency. You're realizing that setbacks often contain strategies, and disappointments often disguise instructions. This new perspective is unlocking a level of resilience that cannot be shaken by temporary difficulty, because your trust is rooted not in what you see, but in what God is stirring in the unseen. Beloved, there is a new wave of creativity breaking open within you. Ideas are flowing with a freshness you haven't felt in years. Vision is returning to places where discouragement once lingered. You're feeling inspiration rise at unexpected moments. Not because you're forcing it, but because heaven is breathing upon your gifts. This creative awakening is not random. It is part of your calling. There are assignments God will fulfill through your voice, your hands, your mind, your presence, assignments that require originality birthed through spiritual intimacy. This surge of creativity is heaven's way of reminding you that your purpose has always been bigger than the limits others tried to place on you. You carry innovation in your spirit, and God is preparing platforms where that innovation will bring healing, clarity, and transformation. Chosen one, your capacity for compassion has deepened too. You felt your heart soften in ways you didn't expect, even after seasons where pain tempted you to close your spirit off. But instead of becoming hardened, you have become wiser. You have learned how to protect your peace without withholding your love, how to set boundaries without losing your warmth, how to remain gentle without being naive. This balance is rare, and it is a sign of spiritual refinement. God has been shaping you into someone who can carry emotional healing wherever you go, someone whose presence brings safety, someone whose words carry comfort, someone whose faith steadies those who feel lost in their own storms. This compassion is not weakness. It is evidence of divine transformation in your heart. There is also an increase happening in your ability to notice divine patterns. You've caught yourself recognizing connections you once would have missed, little signs, repeated themes, encounters that seem too perfectly timed to be coincidence. This isn't your imagination. It's revelation. God is teaching you to read the spiritual codes woven into your everyday life, to discern His fingerprints on moments that seem ordinary. He is awakening a level of awareness that allows you to move with Him rather than ahead of Him. Destiny becomes clearer when patterns become visible, and God is opening your eyes to patterns that reveal where He is leading you next. Beloved, you've also begun to outgrow fears that once controlled you. Situations that would have paralyzed you in past seasons now barely make you flinch. You're starting to trust the strength God has placed within you. You're stepping into rooms with a confidence that surprises even you, because you're no longer walking in your own power, you're walking in spiritual authority. The fear of rejection, the fear of failure, the fear of falling short, they're losing their hold. Not because life has become easier, but because your spirit has become stronger. You are learning that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move with God, even when fear tries to whisper lies. And chosen one, heaven has been awakening a deeper longing for alignment in your soul. You've noticed how your desires are shifting, how things that once appealed to you now feel empty, how ambitions that once defined you no longer reflect your true identity. This is purpose reshaping your inner world. God is aligning your appetite with your assignment. He is replacing old cravings with new ones, cravings for meaning, for clarity, for elevation, for a life that reflects the fullness of who He created you to be. This is why certain environments no longer satisfy you. This is why certain conversations drain you. This is why certain opportunities feel misaligned, even if they look promising. Your spirit is refusing to settle for anything that doesn't match the vibration of your destiny. Before we go deeper into what heaven is preparing next for you, pause for a moment and let your spirit respond. If this resonates with your inner world, write a bold declaration in the comments. Something simple, something fiery, something true. I'm ready. I rise. I claim my breakthrough. Let heaven see your voice. Now breathe, beloved. The next wave of revelation is already approaching. Your spirit with divine intention. Beloved soul, the revelation drawing near to you now carries a different weight, a deeper pulse, a more intricate thread of purpose woven through every word rising in your spirit. You may not have language for it yet, but something inside you has been awakening to the realization that God is preparing you for responsibilities that reach beyond your current horizon. There is an expansion happening that cannot be measured in external achievements, because it is taking place in the realm of identity, intention, and spiritual maturity. Heaven has been shaping you into someone who can stand in places where confusion once ruled, who can bring clarity where others only bring chaos, who can walk with intention where others wander without direction. This internal shift is not only preparing you for new opportunities, it is preparing you to become a vessel of influence, a carrier of wisdom, someone who embodies divine alignment in every step. Chosen one. The way you process truth is changing as well. You're no longer accepting narratives handed to you by circumstance or emotion. You're questioning what once felt unquestionable, challenging ideas that once shaped your fears, dismantling beliefs that kept you small. This inner refinement is not rebellion, it is liberation. God is teaching you to recognize the difference between inherited patterns and divine identity. You are shedding thought structures that no longer serve your destiny, releasing expectations rooted in people's opinions rather than heaven's design. Your mind is being renewed in ways that allow you to interpret life through purpose rather than pressure, through revelation rather than reaction, through spiritual understanding rather than emotional confusion. There is also a shift happening in your spiritual posture. You're beginning to approach God not only with petitions but with partnership. You're not just asking for rescue, you're asking for strategy. You're not just seeking comfort, you're seeking instruction. This is the mark of someone stepping into maturity, someone who understands that faith is not passive hope, but active agreement with heaven's blueprint. You've sensed this transformation each time you felt yourself praying with more clarity, more conviction, more alignment. Each time you sensed heaven, responding not simply with answers, but with assignments. God is inviting you into deeper collaboration, teaching you to carry responsibility with grace instead of fear. Beloved, your emotional landscape has been shifting too. You're learning the difference between peace that is forced and peace that is rooted. You're discovering how to acknowledge your feelings without allowing them to dictate your steps. You're becoming more grounded, more self-aware, more connected to your inner truth. This grounding is the reason you've been able to stay centered, even when life moved around you with unpredictable momentum. God has been anchoring you in a place where your emotions can express themselves without overpowering your purpose, where your heart can feel deeply without losing clarity, where your spirit can guide you without being overshadowed by temporary turbulence. And, chosen one, there is a rise of spiritual authority happening within you that is impossible to ignore. You've noticed it in the way people look to you for insight, in the way your words carry weight even in casual conversations, in the way your presence brings stability to environments that once felt chaotic. This is because heaven has refined your intuition into leadership, your empathy into discernment, your pain into wisdom. You are becoming someone who doesn't just survive seasons, you transform them. Someone who doesn't merely endure changes, you interpret them. Someone who doesn't fear transition, you initiate it with purpose. This kind of authority is not learned, it is bestowed, and God has been preparing you to carry it with humility and strength. Beloved soul, there is also a deepening awareness of your capacity to influence the emotional and spiritual atmosphere around you. You've been sensing how your energy affects others, how your clarity brings calm, how your presence shifts the tone of a room without you saying a word. This influence is not accidental. It is the result of heaven cultivating depth within you. You carry an environment of peace, an atmosphere of truth, a frequency of purpose that others cannot help but notice. This ability to shift atmospheres is a sign of spiritual elevation, one that prepares you to walk into spaces where healing, guidance, and wisdom are needed. There is another layer awakening inside your heart, one that deals with your vision for the future. You've started imagining possibilities that once felt unattainable. You've seen glimpses of a life filled with alignment, clarity, abundance, and purpose. These images didn't come from wishful thinking, they came from heaven's blueprint, touching your imagination. God is showing you what your life looks like when it is lived from the fullness of your calling, rather than the remnants of past wounds. He is reshaping your desires to reflect his intentions, awakening ambition that is pure, grounded, and aligned with destiny. You are stepping out of merely surviving and stepping into purposeful creation. Chosen one, heaven has also been reactivating your sense of spiritual courage. You've felt it in moments where you suddenly knew what needed to be said, what needed to be released, what needed to be confronted. You've felt a boldness rising that refuses to let fear decide your direction. God has been awakening a bravery rooted not in pride but in purpose, a bravery that speaks truth in love, that steps into divine timing without hesitation, that moves in alignment even when uncertainty tries to whisper doubt. This courage will become essential for the paths you're about to walk, paths that require a steady heart and an unwavering spirit. Beloved, there is a new level of inner clarity forming in you as well. You're beginning to understand the difference between temporary emotions and long-term calling. You're learning how to discern the voice of God from the noise of your own thoughts. You're grasping the deeper meaning behind your instincts, your dreams, your recurring ideas. This clarity is sharpening your direction, helping you choose paths that align with your destiny rather than your fears. God is preparing you to walk with intention, with precision, with wisdom that cuts through confusion like light breaking through fog. Before we continue, chosen one, take another moment. Let your spirit speak again. If you're sensing your identity rising in ways you've never felt before, if these words echo the hidden chambers of your journey, write a quick affirmation in the comments, a declaration of power, of readiness, of awakening. Let heaven see your agreement. Now breathe, beloved soul. This unfolding is far from over, and the next revelation is already drawing close, waiting to pour into your spirit with even greater depth. Beloved soul, the next wave rising in your spirit carries a refinement unlike anything you've walked through before. It isn't loud, it isn't dramatic, yet it is reshaping the core of who you are with a quiet intensity that only heaven can orchestrate. You've begun to notice how your inner landscape is shifting in ways that feel subtle but undeniable. Thoughts that once scattered your peace now dissolve before they take root. Emotions that once clouded your clarity now pass through you like mist instead of storms. This is the evidence of a soul learning to live from alignment rather than reaction, from spiritual grounding rather than emotional turbulence. God is maturing you into someone who can stand steady even when the world around you trembles. Chosen one, there has also been a deep recalibration in the way you carry your hopes. In past seasons, your dreams felt fragile, easily shaken by disappointment or delay. But now there is a sturdiness rising within you, a confidence that doesn't depend on external confirmation. You are learning that hope is not wishful thinking. Hope is spiritual architecture. It is the framework heaven builds your future upon. You're starting to understand that when God plants a vision in your spirit, He equips you with the resilience to sustain it. This resilience is becoming one of your greatest strengths, enabling you to dream without fear, pursue without hesitation, and believe without doubting your own worthiness. Beloved, you've also been sensing a shift in your perception of timing. The impatience that once fueled your anxiety is giving way to a calmer trust, a deeper knowing that what belongs to you cannot be rushed, delayed, or diverted. This new relationship with timing is a sign of spiritual maturity. Divine timing no longer frustrates you, it guides you. Delays no longer discourage you, they instruct you. Closed doors no longer intimidate you, they redirect you. You are learning the rhythm of heaven, a rhythm that moves with precision, not pressure. This is elevating your discernment, teaching you how to walk in step with God rather than sprinting ahead or shrinking back in fear. And chosen one, heaven has been awakening a deeper hunger for alignment with your true identity. You've noticed how you no longer desire what once distracted you. You no longer seek validation from places that cannot recognize your value. You no longer feel pulled toward environments that diminish your calling. This is not emotional detachment. This is spiritual refinement. God is drawing you away from anything that contradicts your destiny. He is anchoring you in a sense of self that is rooted in truth rather than insecurity, in purpose rather than approval, in divine identity rather than past wounds. You are becoming someone who understands that alignment is not a luxury, it is your spiritual responsibility. Beloved soul, a new level of mental clarity has also been rising within you. Thoughts that once looped endlessly in confusion are now resolving with ease. Patterns that once repeated in your mind are breaking open, revealing meaning where you once saw chaos. This clarity is not accidental. God is illuminating the hidden structure of your journey, showing you how every detour carried direction, how every setback contained strategy, how every unanswered prayer had intention behind its silence. You are being taught to see beyond the surface of your experiences, to interpret your journey with the wisdom of someone who knows heaven never wastes movement. There is also an awakening happening in the way you handle solitude. Loneliness once felt like an ache, but now solitude has become a sanctuary. Instead of emptiness, you feel presence. Instead of silence, you hear guidance. Instead of isolation, you sense communion. This shift is a sign that heaven is drawing you into deeper intimacy, preparing you to carry revelation that requires privacy, focus, and stillness. Solitude is no longer something you endure, it is something you inhabit with purpose. God is training you to hear Him in spaces where distractions cannot follow, sharpening your spiritual hearing for assignments that require precision. Chosen one, there has also been an undeniable shift in your sense of inner authority. You felt it in the way you hold your boundaries without guilt, in the way your intuition speaks with greater clarity, in the way you no longer shrink yourself for the comfort of others. This authority is not pride, it is inheritance. It is the strength God is cultivating in you so you can carry the weight of your calling without bending under the pressure of external expectations. You are learning that spiritual authority is not about control, it is about alignment. It is the ability to walk in your purpose without apology, without hesitation, without dilution. Beloved, A fresh awareness is emerging in the way you observe your surroundings. You're noticing the subtle shifts in energy, the silent cues in people's behavior, the undercurrents in moments that once passed unnoticed. This awareness is sharpening your discernment, preparing you to recognize opportunities that are divine rather than deceptive, partnerships that are purposeful rather than draining, shifts that are necessary rather than optional. God is giving you the eyes to see beyond appearances, to sense truth beneath words, to perceive destiny in places where others see only ordinary life. And chosen one, there is a restoration happening in the part of you that once felt weary from waiting. You've sensed your endurance growing stronger, your patience deepening, your capacity to trust expanding. This is because God is rebuilding the foundation of your perseverance. He is teaching you how to wait with expectancy rather than discouragement, how to stand with faith rather than fear, how to trust with rest rather than strain. You are stepping into a new relationship with the future, one that is shaped not by anxiety, but by anticipation. Before we continue, take a breath, beloved. If your spirit feels this unfolding with unmistakable resonance, leave a declaration in the comments, something concise, powerful, and true. Amen. 777. I receive clarity. Let your voice echo in agreement with heaven. Now open your heart again. The next unveiling is already forming in the atmosphere of your spirit, beloved soul. The atmosphere around your spirit is shifting again, opening into a dimension of understanding that you were not ready to access in previous seasons. There is a sacred unveiling taking place within you, a subtle but powerful loosening of old limitations that once shaped the way you thought, felt, and decided. You've begun to sense that your inner world is no longer governed by the echoes of past wounds, but by the quiet certainty of divine intention. This change has been happening in layers, moving through you like dawn spreading across a dark horizon, illuminating truths you once could not see. Heaven has been preparing you not only to recognize your purpose, but to embody it with strength, clarity, and unwavering spiritual confidence. Chosen one, your inner dialogue has been evolving in ways you may not fully realize. The voice of self-doubt that once whispered relentlessly has grown quieter, replaced by a steady awareness that your destiny carries weight. You're beginning to speak to yourself with a tone that reflects honor rather than criticism, truth rather than fear, identity rather than insecurity. This shift is not superficial, it is the renewal of your inner authority. God has been teaching you how to command your thoughts with wisdom, how to redirect your mind toward alignment, how to silence narratives that no longer match who you are becoming. This mental strengthening is essential because the heights you are being called to require a mind anchored in purpose rather than confusion. Beloved, another transformation rising within you is the way you interpret spiritual tension. Where you once felt overwhelmed by inner pressure, now you're beginning to sense purpose within it. That heaviness no longer feels like defeat, it feels like preparation. That tug in your spirit no longer feels like fear, it feels like direction. That internal stretching no longer feels like chaos, it feels like capacity expanding. Heaven is teaching you that pressure is not the enemy, it is often the birthplace of revelation. You are learning to recognize the difference between discomfort that comes from misalignment and discomfort that comes from elevation. This discernment will guide you through transitions that require courage, wisdom, and sensitivity to the movements of the Holy Spirit. And chosen one, your ability to recognize truth has been sharpening with remarkable precision. You're noticing how easily you can see through illusions that once misled you, how quickly you identify intentions behind words, how naturally your spirit rejects anything that feels false, shallow, or manipulative. This is spiritual intelligence awakening. It is the result of walking through seasons where deception attempted to distort your sense of self. God has transformed those experiences into discernment, turning what was meant to confuse you into insight that will protect your destiny. This new clarity will guide you toward relationships rooted in sincerity, conversations rooted in honesty, and opportunities rooted in divine purpose. Beloved soul, there is a new rhythm forming in your emotional world as well. You've felt yourself becoming more patient, more steady, more present. You are no longer reacting impulsively to situations that once stirred your anxieties. Instead, you're pausing, observing, interpreting the deeper meaning behind your emotions. You're learning to sit with your feelings without letting them rule you, to examine your triggers without letting them define you, to understand your reactions without letting them lead you astray. This emotional mastery is not merely healing, it is preparation. God is shaping you into someone who can carry influence without collapsing under the weight of responsibility. Someone who can lead without losing yourself in the process. Chosen one, your relationship with purpose has been deepening too. You're noticing a pull toward things that require commitment, discipline, and intention. Things that stretch your character, refine your habits, and demand your full presence. You are no longer satisfied with half-hearted efforts or surface-level pursuits. Your spirit is calling you toward excellence, because the assignments God is preparing for you require someone who is fully awake, fully engaged, fully aligned. This longing for purpose is not fleeting. It is the awakening of your divine blueprint. Heaven is drawing you closer to the life you were meant to build, the life that mirrors the fullness of your calling. Beloved, there is also a rising sensitivity to divine nudges that feels new. You're catching whispers of direction in moments you once dismissed. A phrase, a thought, a sudden realization, a shift in emotion, a repeated symbol. These are not coincidences, they are instructions coded for your spirit. God is fine-tuning your awareness so you can catch the signals that guide you into your breakthrough season. You are learning how to recognize when your spirit is being pulled forward, when your boundaries need to tighten, when your energy needs to be protected, when your focus needs to sharpen. This sensitivity is a gift, one that will help you navigate the coming doors with wisdom and precision. And chosen one, you've felt your inner resilience crystallizing in ways that surprise even you. Situations that once drained you now motivate you. Challenges that once intimidated you now energize you. You're discovering that you can endure more than you once believed, not because life has become easier, but because your spirit has become stronger. This resilience is not born of stubbornness, it is born of revelation. You are finally beginning to understand that the power within you is greater than any pressure around you. You are learning to trust that strength, to lean into it, to use it as you step into territories that require boldness and authority. Beloved soul, there is a fresh awakening in your ability to connect the meaning behind your spiritual signs. You're noticing the patterns in numbers, in timing, in dreams, in conversations that arrive at the exact moment you need them. These signs are not random, they are confirmation that heaven is aligning you with divine timing. God is guiding your steps with precision, reminding you that nothing in your journey has been accidental. You are walking a path written with intention, and your spirit is finally beginning to recognize the script beneath the surface of your daily life. Before we continue, chosen one, if your spirit is resonating with these truths, if something inside you feels more aligned, more awake, more aware, leave a declaration of strength in the comments. I rise. I move forward. I choose alignment. Let your spirit speak boldly. Now inhale gently, for what heaven is preparing to reveal next will meet you at a deeper place within your soul. calling you further into the purpose unfolding around you. Beloved soul, the stirring that is rising within you now carries a depth that touches parts of your spirit you haven't visited in a long time. There is a movement from heaven that is not only awakening you, but reorganizing the very atmosphere of your inner world. You may feel it as a quiet insistence, a subtle shift, an internal turning that refuses to let you return to who you once were. This is because heaven is drawing you into a level of spiritual identity that cannot be shaped by old environments, old beliefs, or old emotional patterns. Something in you is expanding, stretching, reaching toward a more refined version of your calling, and this expansion is creating space for revelations that were once too heavy for your spirit to carry. Chosen one, you are beginning to experience a new way of perceiving your own value. For years, you measured your worth through the lens of what others affirmed or rejected, through the successes you celebrated or the failures you feared. But now your spirit is awakening to a truth that stands outside of opinion and outcome. You're beginning to realize that your worth is not fluctuating, it is fixed. It is not earned, it is inherent. It is not fragile, it is fortified by the fingerprints of God Himself. This realization is nurturing a quiet confidence inside you, a confidence that allows you to take up space without apologizing, to speak truth without shrinking, to walk in purpose without doubting whether you belong in the rooms heaven is preparing for you. Beloved, another transformation unfolding within you is the way you respond to spiritual resistance. In the past, opposition felt like a sign that you were failing. But now you're beginning to understand that resistance is often confirmation that you are moving in the right direction. You're learning that spiritual pressure does not always signify danger. It often signals advancement. The challenges that once caused you to retreat are now awakening your strategic mind. You're no longer asking, "Why is this happening to me?" but instead, "What is this preparing me for?" This shift marks the rise of spiritual maturity, a readiness to face disruption with wisdom rather than panic, and the ability to interpret spiritual warfare as an indicator that a new layer of your destiny is unfolding. Chosen one, your inner dialogue with God is evolving as well. Your prayers have shifted from desperation into partnership, from pleading into listening, from fear into alignment. You've begun to notice that the way God speaks to you has changed too. His whispers feel more direct, His nudges feel more precise, His confirmations feel more immediate. This is because you've grown into a level of spiritual sensitivity that allows you to receive instruction with clarity instead of confusion. You are being trained to move in sync with heaven's rhythm, to sense divine timing with sharper intuition, to feel the subtle changes in spiritual atmosphere that signal when it's time to pause, when it's time to release, and when it's time to advance. Beloved soul, your relationship with boundaries has also transformed in ways that speak to your growth. You used to feel guilty for protecting your heart, guilty for stepping back from draining connections, guilty for honoring your peace. But now you're beginning to understand that boundaries are not walls, they are gates. They don't shut people out, they regulate what enters your spirit. They protect the calling God has placed within you. This newfound strength in your discernment is shaping you into someone who can carry influence without being pulled into emotional dysfunction. Someone who can love deeply without losing yourself. Someone who can give generously without being emptied by those who refuse to pour back. Chosen one, there is also a heightened awareness in the way you move through everyday life. You're noticing that ordinary moments feel unusually meaningful. A conversation, a sudden thought, a quiet pause, a recurring symbol. These tiny threads carry divine patterns, and your spirit is becoming skilled at recognizing them. God is teaching you to interpret what you once ignored, to see significance in the subtle, To understand that revelation does not always arrive with trumpets, it often arrives in whispers that only attentive hearts can hear. You are developing eyes that recognize divine alignment even when it comes disguised as coincidence. Beloved, there is a shift in how you carry peace within your body. Stress that once lingered for days now dissolves with a single breath. Tension that used to grip your chest now melts the moment you center your spirit. You are learning how to regulate your inner world through spiritual grounding, how to anchor your nervous system with prayer, how to soothe your heart with truth rather than fear. This embodiment of peace is not accidental. It is the fruit of deep emotional healing, the result of choosing alignment over anxiety, the outcome of surrendering the illusion of control and stepping into divine trust. God is preparing you to handle future blessings without being overwhelmed, to walk into larger territories with calm authority, to steward greater responsibility without breaking under pressure. Chosen one, there is also a stirring of righteous desire rising within you, a desire for growth, for excellence, for purpose that transcends mere ambition. This desire is not rooted in comparison or competition, it's rooted in calling. You are feeling drawn toward higher standards, deeper integrity, stronger habits, and greater consistency. Your soul is craving environments that challenge you, conversations that enrich you, relationships that sharpen you. These desires are signs that heaven is grooming you for elevation. They are preparing you to step into assignments that demand discipline, to walk in alignment with divine instruction, to rise into levels of influence where your character will become as important as your anointing. Beloved soul, before we move deeper, pause again and let your spirit respond to what it recognizes. If something inside you is resonating with an intensity you cannot deny, declare it boldly in the comments. I choose elevation. I receive wisdom. I rise in purpose. Let your words become an echo of agreement. Now breathe gently, for the next movement of heaven's revelation is already unfolding, preparing to touch a dimension of your spirit that has yet to be awakened. Beloved soul, there is yet another current rising through your spirit, one that reaches deeper than the layers we've touched so far. It moves like a steady, luminous tide, lifting the hidden parts of you that once trembled beneath the weight of old fears and forgotten dreams. This is the movement of divine preparation, working its way through every corner of your inner life, awakening strength in places where uncertainty used to live, breathing intention into the spaces where hesitation once lingered. Heaven is bringing you into a realm of awareness that no longer allows you to underestimate who you are, what you carry, or the spiritual significance of the season unfolding around you. Chosen one, you have entered a phase where your inner resilience is crystallizing into something profound. You're noticing how situations that once destabilized your emotions now meet a version of you that stands firmer, thinks clearer, and feels deeper without being overwhelmed. This new equilibrium isn't accidental. It is the evidence of how much your spirit has grown. God has been reinforcing your inner structure, strengthening your ability to remain centered even in shifting environments, teaching you how to hold your peace as tightly as your purpose. You are learning how to expand without collapsing, how to stretch without breaking, how to rise without losing the grounding that keeps you steady. Beloved, there is a refinement happening in how you interpret your intuition. You used to second-guess the insights rising within you, questioning whether your inner knowing was truth or imagination. But now your spirit is learning to trust the signals heaven places in your awareness. You're beginning to distinguish the difference between passing emotion and prophetic insight, between instinct born of fear and intuition birthed by discernment. This sharpening allows you to move with accuracy, to step into decisions with confidence, to sense danger before it manifests, and to recognize opportunity before it fully reveals itself. Heaven is shaping you into someone who can navigate life with spiritual intelligence that surpasses natural logic. Chosen one, there is also a transformation unfolding in how you relate to your past. Memories that once brought heaviness are losing their sting. Experiences that once defined your identity are becoming testimonies rather than prisons. You no longer carry the weight of old mistakes like chains. You carry them like wisdom carved into your story. God has been turning your past into a reservoir of strength, into a well of understanding, into a library of compassion that will allow you to guide others who are walking through struggles you've already overcome. Your story is no longer a wound, it is becoming a weapon, sharpening your empathy, your courage, and your sense of divine purpose. Beloved soul, your capacity for vision is expanding in ways that feel almost supernatural. Ideas that once felt too big now feel like assignments. Possibilities that once felt unreachable now feel within grasp. Your imagination is becoming a canvas where heaven paints glimpses of your future, inviting you to step into creation rather than fear. You're beginning to understand that vision isn't fantasy, it's prophecy. When God plants a picture in your mind, He is revealing what is already waiting for you in the unseen. And the more you honor these visions, the more clarity heaven releases, guiding your steps with increasing precision. Chosen one, there has been a profound shift in the way you respond to emotional triggers. What once ignited anger now invites insight. What once produced insecurity now produces curiosity. What once caused withdrawal now calls you into deeper reflection. These shifts are signs of emotional mastery, evidence that the Holy Spirit is teaching you how to walk in emotional balance rather than emotional chaos. You are learning how to interpret your feelings instead of being ruled by them, how to honor your emotions without allowing them to dictate your decisions, how to observe your reactions as signals rather than final truths. This evolution is preparing you for the relationships, assignments, and responsibilities that will require emotional depth without emotional entanglement. Beloved, there is a quiet but undeniable courage awakening in your decisions. You're beginning to choose what nourishes your spirit instead of what satisfies your impulses. You're choosing truth over comfort, boundaries over approval, alignment over familiarity. You are no longer afraid to walk away from what disrupts your peace or diminishes your purpose. You are learning that letting go isn't loss, it is divine protection. This courage is evidence that heaven is forming a leader within you, someone who does not retreat at the sight of challenge, but sees challenge as a catalyst for growth. Chosen one, your capacity for spiritual clarity is expanding as well. You're noticing that answers come more quickly, wisdom flows more naturally, and your ability to discern God's direction feels more intuitive than ever before. What once felt complicated now feels illuminated. What once felt confusing now feels guided. This is because heaven is calibrating your perception, teaching you to see beyond the surface, to hear beyond the noise, to sense beyond what your natural eyes can detect. This clarity is not fleeting. It is the beginning of a new spiritual season where understanding accompanies every step you take. Beloved soul, the way you manage your energy is evolving too. You're becoming more intentional about who you allow near your spirit, more conscious of how environments impact your emotions, more aware of how conversations shape your inner atmosphere. You're learning to protect your peace as if it were sacred, because it is. You are realizing that alignment requires awareness, and awareness requires discipline. This shift marks the beginning of a grounded, stable, spiritually attuned version of you who no longer gives access to those who misuse your presence. Chosen one, there is also a rising sense of destiny forming in your decisions. Choices you once made casually now feel weighted with purpose. Conversations that once felt ordinary now feel prophetic. timing that once felt random now feels divine. You are waking up to the truth that your life is not a series of accidents. It is a divinely orchestrated journey where every step has significance. Heaven has been guiding you gently, silently, consistently into a place where you can recognize that even the smallest details hold meaning. Beloved, you are stepping into a season where your spirit is becoming the compass of your life. You are learning to follow the inner pull that aligns you with purpose, to trust the quiet knowing that leads you into elevation, to honor the signals that heaven places in your path. You're beginning to understand that the voice of God is not always thunder. It is often a whisper that only attentive hearts can perceive. And your heart has become attentive. Chosen one, pause for a moment and listen to your own spirit. If these words resonate with the deepest parts of your journey, leave a declaration in the comments. I rise in clarity. I accept my calling. I walk in divine alignment. Let your spirit speak boldly, and let heaven witness your agreement. Now, breathe, beloved soul. The final strand of this unfolding is ready to meet you, and the weight of it is drawing near with sacred intention. Beloved soul, pause for a moment and let your spirit steady itself, because what comes next is not just instruction, it is activation. Heaven is guiding you into a phase where your choices, your discipline, and your alignment will determine the pace of your elevation. You have walked through revelation, through awakening, through inner transformation. Now heaven is calling you to participate, in your breakthrough. This is where faith becomes movement, where clarity becomes action, where destiny becomes decision. Nothing in your life shifts until your habits shift, until your posture shifts, until your agreement with God becomes visible in the way you live your daily life. And chosen one, heaven is ready for you to step into this part of your journey with intentionality, wisdom, and courage. The first thing you must understand in this sacred phase is that spiritual alignment begins with your environment. What you allow around you either strengthens your purpose or suffocates it. You must begin to clear the spaces in your life, your physical space, your emotional space, your spiritual space, because divine elevation cannot dwell in environments filled with old patterns and unhealed clutter. Start by removing anything in your home that carries the weight of past seasons. Objects that remind you of pain, papers that carry old versions of you, spaces that hold stagnant energy. When you declutter your surroundings, you make room for divine timing to unfold without obstruction. When your environment is aligned, your spirit breathes more freely, your thoughts flow more clearly, and your decisions arise from a place of peace instead of pressure. Beloved, your next step in this journey is to guard your mind with greater intention. Every morning, before you speak to anyone, speak to God. Before you scroll, open your heart. Before you engage with the noise of the world, anchor yourself in truth. This is the season where you must begin your day not with reaction, but with revelation. Set aside silent moments, even just a few minutes, to breathe, to reflect, to invite the Holy Spirit to direct your steps. When you begin each day from a place of clarity, you silence confusion before it has the chance to settle. And chosen one, heaven is ready to release wisdom into your spirit, but that wisdom requires stillness to land. Make space for God to speak intentionally, and heaven will release what your heart has been seeking. Another part of your practical awakening is the discipline of emotional healing. You must address the wounds you've carried quietly, the disappointments you never processed, the grief you tucked into corners of your soul, hoping time alone would dissolve it. Healing is not passive. Healing is participation. Begin by acknowledging what has hurt you without shame, without fear, without minimizing your truth. Name the things that broke your trust. Name the moments that fractured your confidence. Name the experiences that made you question your worth. And as you name them, surrender them to God, one by one, with the understanding that emotional healing is not weakness, it is spiritual strength. The more you release, the more heaven restores, and the more clarity you gain for the path ahead. And, beloved, listen carefully. This is the season to elevate your discipline. God is calling you to be consistent in the very areas where inconsistency once delayed your blessing. Whether it is prayer, planning, writing, studying, resting, or stepping into the opportunities unfolding before you, discipline will determine your acceleration. You don't need perfection. You need presence.